Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today we're going to be looking at the FPS RTS hybrid game Freeman Guerrilla Warfare. This is a game that is in early access on Steam, and I'm talking about it now because it's actually on sale on chrono.gg/levelcap. I'll put the link to that in the video description. If you want to pop over there, you can pick up the game for $11 today. It normally retails for $15. The basic premise of this game is that you're a guerrilla fighter in charge of your own guerrilla army. You start off the game with very little resources. In fact, you only have a Glock and a few soldiers to fight by your side, but as you progress and complete missions and fight other bandits or groups or factions, you will gain money, weapons, gear. You can trade and barter, upgrade your main character, upgrade the soldiers that fight in your army, and you can use it to attack towns, siege locations, and basically build up a massive faction of fighters for yourself and bolster your resources, gain control of towns that will give you payouts on a daily basis, allowing you to sustain your army or grow your army to even bigger sizes. Right now I'm in the middle of a skirmish battle with some looters that I ran into on the open world, and I basically ambushed them, and now we're fighting to the death. Now if I win this battle, I'll gain experience for my own character, the other soldiers in my army, and we'll also gain some cash and loot from the defeated looters. Then we can take those items and move ourselves to a major trading city, sell them, and upgrade our characters or buy or hire more mercenaries. One of the main goals of the game is to gain control of at least 10 cities around the open world map, and that will establish you as the dominant warlord in the region. Now that the battle is over, you can see that I can just move my army around the map as a single unit. This is similar to like Heroes of Might and Magic, Lords of the Realm, and many other RTS games out there. Once you engage another army, it takes you back into sort of an instanced battlefield. Now when I stop moving my army, the game itself pauses. As I move across the landscape, the time moves forward at a quick pace, and it actually has a realistic day-night cycle. So if it turns to nighttime and I engage an enemy faction, well, that battle's going to take place at night, and it really helps if you pick up a pair of night vision goggles. At the start of a battle, you select which squads you want to bring into combat. If you lose a squad completely in combat, you can bring in reinforcements if you have them available. So that's kind of nice, and it allows you to bolster your army if you need to. And then you can just open up the map overhead and start moving your squads around. Your squads can move stealthily, they can charge forward, you can give them different movement commands, and you can try and keep them hidden better in the trees and environment like that. Often your squad will engage the enemy before you do, as they have pretty good line of sight and they'll figure out where you're getting attacked from. Also, after you get attacked, your squad will spot the enemy for you, so you can once again switch to the overhead map, and it'll give you some nice red indicators as to where the enemy is attacking you from. You also have the option to call in one airstrike per battle at the moment, so you can use that in a pinch if you really need to wipe out a good chunk of the enemy or they're clumping up in one area. Now generally your squad mates are actually quite effective, and they can deal with the enemy, especially if you position them properly and give them good supporting fire, or just give them a numbers advantage. Often if you're smart and you move around the battlefield in an intelligent way, you can put yourself in a situation where you have more people shooting than the enemy, and it gives your soldiers a better survivability rating. As you progress through the game, you'll be able to afford higher level squads, elite mercenaries that'll have better stats and can really take on a lot more enemies and will be more accurate at further ranges. So you can start building up quite an elite faction of guerrilla fighters down the road, and that's when the game starts to get a bit more fun, is you kind of have more tactical options, or you have the ability to take on much larger armies than yourself, as long as you're playing it somewhat smart. And although your AI teammates are an invaluable resource and can end up doing quite a bit of damage and a lot of work on the map, if you're a decent FPS player and can take charge, you yourself can do quite a lot of damage to the enemy army. And once you start upgrading your primary weapons and getting some magnified optics and some body armor so that you can take a few hits, you can actually get out there and decimate a huge percentage of the enemies. And if you're sort of watching your teammates and seeing what they're getting involved with and try and protect them and take down the guys that are the biggest threat to them the quickest, you can also keep your army up. And this is important because you're going to have to engage a lot of armies throughout the campaign, and it's going to require you to manage your money in a somewhat intelligent way. Otherwise, you're just going to have to spend a huge amount of time farming, roaming bands of looters and stuff like that to get enough money to afford quality mercenaries. Now, each battle fought gives you experience, and you can use that experience to upgrade your main character, increasing their health, increasing their accuracy and damage, and increasing the experience that they gain per battle and per level. And then beyond that, you can put in a lot of skill points to further specialize your main player. Once you're done allocating the skill points, you can find a local town, and you can use that town to trade and barter and hire mercenaries and recruit other soldiers. If you own the town, you can build buildings and structures there to increase its defenses and increase the amount of revenue you gain on every day. So there's benefits to owning territories and stuff like that. There's a full-on RTS RPG backbone to this first-person shooter here. So it really is kind of mixing all these different genres together. Now, the user interface, this is an early access game, but the user interface is very, very clunky. It seems like the game could benefit a lot from some extra dev time, but from what I understand, this is a very small team of devs. However, the game does have extremely favorable Steam reviews, and I think that's because the developers are putting out almost daily updates for the game. One thing that will become apparent, though, once you get into the game is that right now things are very, very raw. There's items and gear in the game that isn't fully explained, nor does it feel fully usable quite yet. There does feel like there's elements in the game that are sort of placeholders there until they get certain systems working. There also isn't really much of a tutorial system at the moment. So this is like extremely early access. Like the game is basically playable, but it feels like there's a ton of features that are getting ready to come into the game. So right now, if you get it and you start playing it, I think you're getting kind of the bare bones experience, and you can sort of watch as the devs update it and add new content on a daily or bi-daily basis. One thing that's kind of cool once you're actually in the thick of combat is that you have to sort of be aware of your ammo. You can only bring so much ammo into the battle, and every time you reload, you lose that magazine or whatever bullets are left over in that magazine, and that costs you money. So you're sort of being a bit conscious of how many grenades you're using or how much ammo you're using during a battle. Some battles can be expensive even if you don't end up losing your squad mates nearby. So it's kind of neat in that sense, in that every bullet and every grenade is something that you're going to have to go buy from a vendor, or is going to cost you money from a vendor. Now, you can get a lot of ammo and grenades and stuff like that from the end of battles. You'll often loot your opposing armies once the battle is over. Now, as I said before, the game is extremely raw, probably most lacking in the user interface right now, and I hope that there's a lot of plans for the evolution of the UI, specifically in the strategic area when you're controlling squads. It would be nice to have a few more options in terms of stances to put your squads in, or maybe UI that let you know what kind of cover they're behind or how well that cover was going to conceal them from the enemy fire. Stuff like that would be kind of helpful strategically. Also, in terms of fighting another squad out in the open or sieging a city, there doesn't seem to be much of a difference in terms of the actual combat style. So it would be cool to see some evolution in this area to try and mix up the sieges from the actual squad fights a bit more. Having tanks or armor in the game could be kind of interesting as well, forcing you to bring some anti-armor weapons to the battlefield. There are RPGs in the game, but I wasn't able to unlock any as they're extremely expensive, but something I plan on trying down the line. The game is quite challenging right now, extremely unforgiving the first few times you play. You'll probably have to restart your campaign 2 or 3 times because you'll have messed up or made some rookie mistakes, but once you kind of get the feel for it, then you start building up your army, gaining funds. It can become a lot more fun at that point. Anyway, again, the game is available on chrono.gg/levelcap if you want to get it on sale and try it out. Again, fair warning, it's early access, very bare bones right now, but it's showing promise, and I'm looking forward to see what this game becomes down the road. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Levelcap signing off.